Welcome back for a brand new episode of
What's
What's
brewing,
brewing,
sis?
sis?
I'm Shelly.
I'm Bianca.
And I'm Deanna. And here we come together to discuss life, lifestyle, business, and all things in between.
Yes,
Yay! We are
ma'am.
back for a brand new episode of What's Brewing Sis podcast. Where were we when we were here last?
Finding 40.
Finding
Finding
40.
40. All the things that come along with turning 40, life lessons, journeys. One question that I didn't get to ask last episode, I'll ask now. What did you think you knew before turning 40, and what do you know for sure?
Oh, good question.
Okay.
Hmm.
I think I knew that 40 meant I was gonna be like where I want my feet would be planted. They would be planted and I would be in this amazing career and I would be married and I think I know for sure that it's okay when the story doesn't go the way that it's supposed to be. I think I'm exactly where I want to be and need to be in my life right now to, uh, be at my purpose at some point in life. So yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh, let's see. I don't know.
I'll go next and give you some
Okay, good.
time to think.
Yeah. Good.
So I thought I knew when I was younger that 40 was, oh, like that's it. Like whatever your life is at 40, that's it.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna have like 6 kids and be living on the East Coast, like straight Sex of the City lifestyle. But what I know for sure is life does not end when you get older. Like you could start a new career at 55. You
Mhm.
can start to travel at 38. You can do whatever it is that you want to do at any age. It does not stop at a certain age. So that's what I know for sure.
Okay, I love it.
Dang, it's my turn again already. I would say I definitely thought that career path would be different, although I changed my mind on what I wanted to do in terms of work a gazillion times. Um, I I thought I would be one of maybe 10 different things that I thought I wanted to pursue. But what I know for sure is if you are unsure of what your career path or goals are, or even if you are sure, everything is subject to change. So being open to change is probably a skill that will allow you to um, pivot when needed
Yeah.
and navigate the challenges of life a little better. So just being adaptable and knowing that yes, you can still make a career move, change, jump into entrepreneurship at any age and enjoy the ride.
For sure.
Mhm.
Love that, guys. So, what
Good.
are we talking about today?
We are part two on Crazy Faith. So when we were here last time, it was 10 months ago when we had this conversation. We had Pastor G on the show. He was our first ever guest. And at that time in my life, I was on vacation. I had just celebrated my birthday. Or was soon to be celebrating my birthday, I think, because I think I mentioned in the show, like, I don't know what you guys are doing yet, but and what a difference 10 months can make. Cafe Coco Latte wasn't open yet. I was still working a full-time job and living pretty secure. I had no worries or things like that. We were excited about getting the business started, but there were still a lot of unanswered questions. And then boom, 10 months later, life completely changed. And like I've been saying for the last few months, while this the scariest time of my life, this is definitely the most fulfilling time of my life.
Definitely. So as you were saying that, I'm sitting here looking back like, man, 2 months ago, what was I doing? So yeah,
You
that
were
2 months.
looking for a car. You were looking for a car. You were
Was,
saying how crazy the car market was. You were saying that we were talking about how the housing market became like the car market, where they were like
crazy.
Price
putting you on a list.
gouging.
Yeah.
Yes, putting you
So
on a list.
10 months ago, I was looking for a car. The market had gotten crazy where, you know how you see the sticker price back in the day, you could go in and negotiate and, get it like for 5,000 less than the sticker price. I understood in this economy, maybe negotiation wouldn't work, but you would go into the dealership, or I would go into the dealership, and they'd be like, yeah, it's the sticker price is 22, but we're selling it for 27. I'm like, excuse me? Like, what? So yeah, it was a mess. I did buy a car. It was a journey. I love my vehicle. And the cafe is an actual place in the water tower place downtown. Can y'all believe
No,
that?
It's like
no.
it still need to be pinched.
Girl.
Yes, it feels so unreal. Like literally every time I get down low to open up our door, our lock is at the bottom of the door. Every time I get down to open up the door, it's like I cannot believe that I'm here at this moment. What am I doing opening up the door? And then our doors are so grand where you got to open up one side and open up the other side. And
Mhm.
while it's a task, it's a constant reminder. It's a daily reminder every day that you are literally opening up the doors to your business. And it's great. It's a great feeling.
Yep. I'm like, who thought of putting these locks on the bottom? Like, what is this all about? Why are we doing this? But I like to a good way to make reference to it is, to stay humble, to sometimes we got to get on our knees. Sometimes,
Yeah.
things don't come um super easy. There are doors that you just walk up to and they auto open. But I think you could appreciate it a little more when you gotta, be a part of the opening process, like literally, like, and it's not always comfortable to do.
Mhm.
So I think it helps us to stay humble because them locks be playing games sometimes.
When I used to bend down and open up the locks, my knees would pop. Now
Crack.
I'm noticing my knees ain't popping like they used to pop. Is getting a little used to getting down there, and I'm glad that I keep it in the back of my mind. Like I'm doing this with that purpose of delighting somebody for the day.
Yeah.
Because like I can share a story, and we've only been open for such a short period of time, but I have so many stories to share of people that walk in the door who just want to talk and sit down. And I
Yeah.
had a whole conversation with the lady about fear. I was telling her about a famous street here in downtown Chicago called Laura Wacker, and how fearful I was of the street. But there's a big event going on downtown Chicago. And she's like, don't be fearful. Like, if you got to drive it, drive it. You'll get used to it. And I was a big fan of like, I hate driving downtown. I hate it, blah, 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 blah. I love driving downtown now. I'm like a city downtown girl. I love it down there. So that just speaks to like fear, and don't be fearful of something, because sometimes it really just takes getting used to doing something.
Hmm.
You're not
Mhm.
fearful of it. It just takes some time to get used to
Sorry, the hat hair is getting on my nerves. Sorry.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Bianca wasn't a big fan of driving downtown or heights, but she get on that glass elevator now, like, oh, the elevator's still on. We don't have to take the service elevator. So yes, when there's purpose behind it, a different purpose, you can walk in authority or have a new attitude, or look at it differently. So it's like, if my promise, my success is attached to this glass elevator and beat me up,
Beat me up,
Yeah, it makes me
Daddy.
feel like what else? It makes me feel like what else out there is it that I'm fearful of, or I'm holding back of, that I don't need to because I've been able to achieve this. And I think that's so true of life. Like you don't really know what's behind door number one, until you open it. Like you gotta
Yeah.
Mhm.
open it and see. You have to allow yourself the possibilities. Like life is like endless possibilities of great things happening. But if you walk in fear, or if you don't walk in faith, it's gonna keep you from doing so many different things in life. And I'm learning, man, I can do anything. Like I really
Mhm.
can do anything that I put my mind to, and that's a great feeling to have.
And just speaking of that faith, I remember years ago, I can't even remember how many countless years ago, I was telling Deanna, it's a position downtown, but it's on, I can't remember the street. And Deanna's like, oh, it's right across the bridge. I was like, I'm rich. I cannot
And she,
do
she didn't even go to the interview. Like, nope. Yeah, I'm like, it's across the bridge for me. But if you take the train, you don't even have to cross the
the
bridge. When you get out of the
train.
train, it's on your side of the bridge. You
Girl,
just go
I was
across the
like,
street.
I did not want to travel down. I wanted a downtown job, but I just could not get myself to travel down there. That's how much anxiety and fear I had of driving downtown and walking downtown, and it's heights all over the place. Now I'd be like, oh, we're going to Cheesecake Lake. Let's walk across. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that I think about that. My fear and anxiety prevented me from who knows what positions could have been there for me. But life is what it is. Now here I am, an entrepreneur. So in the place that I was like, oh, I don't want to drive downtown. So
Yeah,
Driving. Yeah.
driving, lifing.
life and yes. What else? We had Pastor G on the show last time, and I think we talked about Bianca. What were the points that you said? Like you were like, there was the upper room faith, there was the lower. What were those?
Give me 1 second, I can tell you.
Because, girl,
I'm like,
the short term memory be short out here.
The short term
crazy,
memory
crazy
restore.
faith.
So there were different types of faith. It's baby faith, maybe faith, waiting faith, wavy faith, lazy faith, trading faith, fugazi faith, stating faith, fading faith, and saving faith. I was talking about hasty faith,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like it's not coming fast enough. Like I have faith, but if it don't come fast enough, my faith is wavered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like at the time we were talking about Cafe Coco Latte. We wanted to get our doors open, and I wanted my car, and all these things were happening. It was like, let's go, like let's make it happen already. So you can have all these different um faith
Stages.
stages of faith. Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to say. Thank you, Dana.
Mhm.
But it has to be more of a consistent faith
Yeah.
of I trust that things are gonna happen when it's supposed to happen, and I'm just gonna surrender myself to God and His plan.
Absolutely. We just did a
Yeah.
show not long ago about trusting the process. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think part of the activities that we went through before the doors open were maybe a portion of that was for the purpose of us to understand that things happen in a process and trust the process. You know, trust that God is going to lead us to where we need to be. And even when those hiccups and stumbling blocks and, no's or whatever show up, to be okay and unnerved by it and to be like, okay, obviously that wasn't going to be the right fit. That wasn't the best opportunity. That wasn't the right partnership that we needed. But God is going to create or, lead us to the correct place where we're supposed to be. So it's all good. We don't even have to be upset or worried or whatever, because we
No.
already know that it's greater on the other side. So um, yeah, I think that
Yeah.
was all part of the grand
It was
scheme.
all needed. It
Yeah.
was a needed process to go through. And for me, it was needed because I can be very impatient, or I used to be very impatient. I've been saying lately, I see the change in me, because even like watching that episode back, our old Crazy Faith episode back, I would rely on somebody else's answer to validate what I would be going through. Now I don't. I feel like God only wants us to live our purposeful life. Like He wants us to walk in our purpose. And so when bad things happen, I don't know what He could be saving me from. Even like being late to a meeting, or
Mhm.
being stuck in traffic, or taking a different route to get somewhere and getting lost. Like I almost feel like everything happens for some grand reason at the end. And
Mhm.
like being 5 minutes late might allow me to help somebody, who came to the cafe and needed to talk for a minute, and that allowed me to have that free and open time, because for whatever reason. And I think that when you keep those type of ideas and thoughts in your head constantly, it won't allow you to get so fearful and frightened when the dishwasher breaks, when
Mhm.
something happens, because um, that time only gave us time to come up with different solutions. When we open again, we're gonna do this, and I think that time was just needed. I wish I knew that as we were going through the process.
Right.
But I'm able to handle things a lot better because I can refer to back to that now.
I
That
think
time.
I can't remember the name of the faith that I talked about in the last episode, but it was one where was it unwavering faith? I can't remember, but it was one where you pray when things are going wrong, but then when things are going right, the prayers are less.
Oh, that was fair
And
weather faith.
fair weather faith, yes. And that's something I had to work on over the course of years. It's like when things are going bad, I'm at bended knee and praying. When things are going good, I'm like, thank you, God, and I'm going about my business. And it's like, no, you have to have those same on the knee prayers when things are going right. So that's something that I consciously like up. Things are
Mhm.
going good. I'm going downtown. You know what? At this red light, I'm about to start praying right now, because I need to make sure that God knows that I'm still grateful and thankful, and I want Him to hear all the prayers, even though things are going right now. So
Yeah, that's kind of what Janelle was talking about when you guys were driving down the street, and she was just looking around and saying how blessed she was. Like sometimes it doesn't even have to be a prayer for like something that you want. It literally could just be a prayer for man, I saw a butterfly yesterday and I was like, a butterfly, like
mm-hmm.
I feel like more in tune um with what takes place when I walk outside, like the air that I breathe in, and the smoky air that we was breathing in
Like,
last week. Like
don't you appreciate clean air?
you,
Some people probably
Yeah.
have a greater appreciation for air quality now than they ever have, because they
yeah,
never knew what it was like to have poor air quality, or
yeah,
to struggle to breathe, or to, feel like intoxication from the outside air, in that magnitude. So, yeah, everybody in Chicago probably has a greater appreciation for air quality.
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
know I
I had
do.
my waist trainer on when we were doing it, and I was telling me and Savannah had walked outside. I was like, "Oh," I said, "I can't breathe." She's like, "It's your waist trainer. Like it's fine.
Like, get over it.
It's totally fine. You can breathe." But it does it, and you see people walking around and with their mask on, and it literally brought me right back to COVID. And I'm like, no, this is not a time to panic. It's just that be careful and be safe out there. Wear your mask.
Yes, I'm like, look at these people now. Like, some people were so against the mask when it was COVID and it was having all kind of fits, but now you got that air quality. You like,
Right.
what a mask? I need the double mask. I need the hazmat suit. Like, no, that's invading on your personal rights. Like,
Oh my
take the
God.
mask off, breathe the bad air, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm like, people can be fickle, can be, wishy-washy or whatever, but we are so gladly blessed to know that God is not one of us. He's not fickle. He's not wishy-washy. He's like, I'm the same God yesterday, today, and forever. My word is not going to change. Like heaven and earth to pass away before this word changed. So thank God that he's not like us. He is patient when we're not. He's faithful when we're not. And he is the blueprint for how we should aspire to be steadfast, unmovable, unshaken by, circumstances, and just really trusting that all things will work together for our good.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved about this book, it had I'm looking at the book right now. So if you see me looking down, that's where I'm at. I said in the podcast that I was gonna go back and reread this book, and I haven't done it yet. So I'm like, oh
You
man.
still can. You
I
still
know,
can.
yeah, girl, it's literally sitting right here. So I have excuse me, a little card, and I have all of the books that we've read. I have one book that I haven't had the opportunity to read yet, and then this book, which I still have a bookmark, which is our gala photo.
Oh.
Ah,
Another good time had by
fabulous.
y'all.
Yeah.
Yes. Come on,
Um,
rocking them black dresses.
so I think I've started rereading it because I'm on page 16. And I haven't went back to finish it, but I love that it had a lot of hot questions for reflection in the back, and also it gave us faith scriptures. So this is something I'm like, man, I could use this. So
Yeah.
it's like, if you are afraid, look at Matt 10:28, chapter 10, verse 28. So it's like a bunch of different scriptures if you need to reference certain things in your life.
That's good.
Mhm.
We'll share
So
Oh,
them
it
on
doesn't
here.
have the scripture written out. I was about to say, what does
no,
Matthew 10 and 28 say? Is that
tell you to go see your Bible.
yeah? I'm like, maybe it's a familiar scripture. I don't always remember the chapter and verse, but it could be God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and power and of a sound mind.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's look it up.
Matthews, what was it?
Matthew 10, verse 10, chapter 10, verse 28.
Okay. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell.
Mm.
That was the NIV version.
Yeah. Yeah. So not the one not the scripture that I said, but okay.
There's a really good book that I literally just purchased it. I haven't started reading it yet, but it's by John Bevere. He wrote another popular book, and the name of this book that I'm about to start reading is it's titled The Awe of God.
Mhm.
And it talks a lot about the fear of God, and that's essentially what he was gonna name the book, but he didn't want to scare people from reading the book. Fear. I know last week we were talking about, like, like, what do you want from your mate? And um, you know, I think a big thing for me is that I do want somebody who is God fearing, because in that episode I did do a lot of talking about like relationships and what I wanted from a man. And this book truly hits on like being fearful of God, and he makes 2 points. One, because he was on a podcast and he was talking about this book, one of my favorite podcasts. It's called The Basement with Tim Ross. But he was saying, like, like, delight in the fear of God, like almost like fearing God will bring you closer to him. So I think that I either want us to read that book in our like next book club meeting, or for you guys to read it individually, with me or whatever. But it is really good, kind of just talking about how to get closer to God, but fearing God is not like a bad thing. Because like the 2 points that he brought up was, one, like you could uh, be fearful, if you run into a bear. That's one type of fear. But you could also stop yourself from walking in a forest, not living your life because you're fearful of running into this bear. What are you guys' thoughts on like fear? Does fear stop you from living your life? Like, what do you guys feel about fear and fearing God?
You want me to go?
Fearing God or fear in my life?
Fear both.
Fear in my life. I shared that story about, not wanting to go to the interview and position because it was downtown. Fear in life, I feel like I've gotten better with. I feel like now it's like, what do you have to lose? is my thought on it. It's like, okay, yeah. There was a time, probably I could probably think back 10 years ago, I would never have said, yeah, I could work a full-time job, go to school, and be an entrepreneur and still try to go to the gym and do all these things. Because I'm like, where am I gonna find the time? I'm not gonna lie. It's days. I was telling Deanna yesterday. Deanna was like, yeah, we could go to the grocery store after work and do this and do that. And I'm like, so you let me look, wait. So you want us to leave here at
I was like,
9 o'clock?
we're gonna go out to dinner, then we're gonna go to the store, then we go. It's like, wait, when do we
No.
sleep? But I had my espresso shot. I was, I
I'm
was
like,
feeling
hold
good.
on,
I'm like,
partner.
yeah, let's go,
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's
I'm
like,
like, I
That
gotta get some
espresso
sleep.
shot will do
So,
she
it.
like, we doing all this tonight.
Oh
so
my
I'm not gonna lie, I do
word.
be tired. I'm like, ooh, I came home and I was like, okay, I'm gonna wash, fell asleep, woke back up, texted Deanna at 2, like, we need milk, and went back to sleep.
She just texted me whole milk.
Yeah.
And went back to sleep, like, nope, gotta get
I
out of
said,
here.
who woke up at 2:30 thinking about milk?
Girl,
Okay.
that sounds like me, because that's what I have. Text messages, like I tend to send myself text messages so I can remember them. And I have whole text messages that say whole milk, skim milk, 2%. Like it is real out here in the milk game. I'm like, we are setting the farmers straight, because you know.
We just need to
Yesterday
get a
I was
cow
driving down
real
the
quick.
street. Yesterday I was driving down the street, and I was in a popular city here in Chicago. I think it's the biggest suburb, in Aurora. And there was a person who had just a house, and then in the back of their house they had goats. And I'm like, where am I? Like, have I entered? Yes, it was a whole field of goats. I'm like, how did we get in on this market?
You know, it's
And a
still
cow.
farms around my house.
Yeah, it is
It
fine.
wasn't even in farmland. Like, it was on North Avenue. Turn, make a left, and you are in a whole. It was crazy. But they also had one cow, so maybe we can get our milk from there.
Goat milk is popping right now. Look, a
I'm like,
lot of
I'm
people like
trying
goat
to
cheese.
find like these different ways to like save on time. And it was just so funny that I ran into the guy with the goats and the one cow. So
I would love to have like a garden, and I don't know if I want to have chickens, but I don't mind the idea of like getting fresh eggs. But I wouldn't want the chickens to like die. That's the way
I
I
could
struggle.
see you doing that. I don't know how well you'll do here, but I could definitely see that. There's some like peace in that,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, it's one of Joseph's dreams to like have a farm. You know, his parents had a farm when he was a kid, and his father still lives on a farm. I'm like, I can
Hmm.
live on a farm. I just don't know about the farming part.
But
Like, I'll be in the house, and you do the farming, but
I
sorry.
want to live in a suburban farm. Like there's a farm in Oswego, and it's like farm and then neighborhood, like right
Yeah,
there. So like you can see your neighbors. They may be not too far, but not too close. And you could walk to your neighbor's house. Like I want to live in a suburban farm where I'm not
yeah,
like,
like the ones around me. Like
yeah,
I could go 2 blocks away from my house and be on a farm. Like,
yeah,
yeah, that would probably be the best of both worlds. Because
hmm,
it's still, here with civilization.
civilization.
Mhm.
But
But getting
speaking
back to
of
the
that fear,
question, we kind of went
yeah,
on a tangent.
speaking of that fear, I was saying 10 years ago, I probably would have never said I could do all of these things. Even though at the time, I was probably working so much overtime that it was crazy. And now I'm, doing all these things because fear would have stopped me. Fear was stopping me from going back to school to get my bachelor's degree at the time because I'm like, I don't have time. How am I gonna do it all? Like I can't do it. And I would talk myself out of things. Now, I'm like, you know what? It may take me a while. It's a process for me. I'll be like, you know what? I should just do this. I should just do this. And now I talk about it, talk about it, talk about it more, probably more internally. And then I'm like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
doing this now. Period. Like this is what I'm gonna do. So, yeah, I try not to let fear guide me. I try to think it out amongst myself and then just go for it. And, it may sound like it's out of the blue for people, but for me, I've thought about it for like 6 months and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So when we talk about fearing God, it's not the same as fearing like a bear or something like that. To fear God means to reverence God, to submit to His commands, and also acknowledge that there's promise attached to being obedient, like there are consequences attached to being disobedient. So I want to live a life where I'm walking and receiving the benefits and the promises of God because I've applied His precepts. I've committed myself to being submitted to the laws of the land as well as the principles of God. Or am I careless, callous, and feel like I could do what I want and God is not a factor? And uh, not understanding that I may be keeping myself from some of the things that God has stored up for me just out of sheer uh, disobedience. So
Mm,
it's more about being in the awe, like you said, the guy of the book, awe of God. More about really having a relationship and an understanding that there are benefits attached to being submitted to God and His way of doing things, and it's probably gonna make life much easier. It's going to make it more fulfilling if I just line myself up with the ways that God has outlined for me. Like there really isn't anything that we should be unsure of or unsure about if we are trusting God, following His plan, trying to grow our relationship with God so that we have full knowledge and understanding of what those benefits are and how to tap into those promises. Like a lot of the time that we spend spinning our wheels on something, trying to figure something out, trying to make it work, it would be like if you just plug in, it's gonna work. Like
mm,
you're keeping yourself from what you could have if you just surrender. So it's more about being submissive and surrendering to the ways of God and then experiencing the awe of God as a result of it, versus fearing God like the fire and brimstone. I mean, you should fear that too, but first, you would have to believe, if you don't believe that there's a heaven and hell, if you don't believe that God is our creator and the governing body of everything that happens, then you can't subscribe to it. So, if you're a non-believer, um, it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply until you first believe, and then it's like, oh, I'm not fearing God because God is here to harm me, but I'm more so respectful of what God has told me to do, and I'm going to submit my life over to Him. Therefore, I'm going to reap those benefits and promises.
It reminds me of a story in my own life where, to this day, I never told my father that I was pregnant. Never. I'm not telling it.
You don't
I'm
know where
not
Savannah
telling
came
it.
from. She showed up on your door.
Not telling him.
Surprise!
And that was so big for me because I felt like I was gonna disappoint him by telling him that I was pregnant. Same reference to God. It's like I'm so respect. My father, in the sense of what God does, is the same that I feel about my dad, where my earthly father, he I don't want to disappoint him. I didn't want to let him down. So that fear came was I'm not going to say, I'm not going to tell him, I'm not going to tell him. And so same with God. It's like, I want to be so fearful of you that I don't want to disappoint you. So I am going to walk in my purpose. Like I'm never going to forget this day. And it happened in such a good time for me. Nothing bad was happening, and nothing extraordinary good was happening either. But I was in my living room. I was in this room right now, and all I heard from God was, "Follow me," and that has stuck with me from then to now, and it's helped me in so many different ways. I shared it with one of my friends who's a pastor, and he was actually doing a Bible teaching on follow the leader, and it made me feel like God wants us to follow him, right? He wants us to follow him. He wants us to live our life and be in our purpose and do the good things and all of that. But that does come with a level, like you have to respect him at the same time. So don't be out here doing things that you know you're not supposed to do. Don't live in fear of me. Just don't do the things that you know you ain't supposed to be out here doing. And that gave me a reason to if I'm fearful of God, then I don't fear another human being. So now if I would get pregnant, I would of course tell my father. But with that, I don't fear people. Like people don't scare me. So then that's in business. I can now say, well, I won't be scared of a dishwasher breaking down or someone telling us, no, you can't open your doors, or these things not being able to happen, because the only being that I fear is that of God, because there's respect there. I know that he has the great purpose, for me,
Yeah.
my life, and for us.
Yeah.
So, in this book, they had some hot questions, and one of them kind of dealing with what we're talking about with fear. It was like, where in your life are you experiencing the enemy's suggestions? And it was, kind of telling you to talk to your friends, write in your journal, and see where you see God at work in it, for it and through those things. So sometimes those enemy suggestions come into your brain with that fear, like you can't do this, or you won't do this, or this isn't going to happen. And it's kind of telling you to write those enemy suggestions down, get them out of your brain, share them with somebody, share it with your journal, and see where God is going to show up for you in those fears or enemy suggestions, if you will.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
yeah, but I think life is a journey, and
Oh.
huh?
No, I was gonna just share a quick story that was I would say an enemy suggestion that just happened a few days ago. And I did share it with a couple people, but initially I did not. And so what happened was I had just a regular scheduled checkup with the breast clinic. Everybody knows I had breast cancer, went through that journey, blah blah. a little over 2 years beyond that now, but I had a checkup with the breast surgeon. And I've been definitely been living my life like, oh, that chapter's over with, full steam ahead, ain't nothing going on but the rent. And so I went to my appointment. I was running late because of traffic and the construction and all that. Usually I get there, I tell the valet, like, hey, don't put my car too deep in because I'm gonna be in and out 10-15 minutes tops. I don't want you to have to take long to get my car. But since I was a little late, I didn't give them that. And then sure enough, I got in the appointment. Everything was, like it normally is. The PA that works with the doctor, she examined me and she said she felt something. And I was like, oh, it's probably the marker from what was there before. Still I wasn't tripping at all. She was like, well, I know how the surgeon is. She's gonna want us to get an ultrasound, blah blah. Then everything started moving really fast. She's like, I'm gonna just walk you across the hall. Don't put your clothes back on. Carry everything with you. We're gonna put you in front of the line. This, and that. And I'm like, hold on. Like, I walked in here feeling just fine. Like, y'all tripping. Then the nurse came. They like both. The nurses telling me just take deep breaths and think good thoughts. And the PA is like, yeah, it feels benign, but we just got to be careful. Then it's like they told them, I don't want a technician to do it. She needs a radiologist, a doctor to do it. But it was like, now I'm part of this VIP club that I don't want to be in. Like, and it became just for a moment like, wait a minute, could I potentially be here again? Like already? Like it's only been a couple years. Like I had a brief moment of the recommendation from the enemy, like, yep, you thought this was over. It's not over. But it really is over. Like it's really over. It was like, it was an oil cyst, nothing to worry about. See you in a year.
Yeah.
But it was like, yes, you could, little things, could, if you don't take control of the situation, could allow you to take a head trip and put yourself in a dark place or put yourself in a place of doubt and be like, I spoke with great authorities to say that, I'm cancer free, God is a healer, blah blah blah. And then the enemy be like, haha, where's your healing now? Like right here, still here. Bye.
And is.
Bye. And I'm going about my business, minding my
Yeah.
Black owned business, but I'm like, and there are people that every time they have to walk into a clinic after having had some critical illness, that their heart is skipping a beat, that they're holding their
Right.
breath. And I'm thankful that I don't live like that. But those reminders, I was like, at some point as I was sitting there, I did start to cry, not for myself, but I started thinking about the people that was sitting in that room that's going to be diagnosed for the first time, or that's going to hear that they have a reoccurrence. And I was really appreciative and thankful that that wasn't my situation, but respectful enough of those who are going through that to remember what it was like and to be prayerful for them in their journey. So I'm not upset with the reminder, but I am even more grateful for the outcome that, that chapter is done.
Yeah.
Wow. That was powerful. That
Hmm.
was definitely powerful. And that is something that could definitely shake you for a minute, I
Yeah.
yeah. I don't have words. I don't have any words for that. Because I can imagine me. I think I put myself in there like if I was sitting there, I had something similar, but I've never had breast cancer where I went for, you get your little annual mammograms. I'm like, okay, here. And they were like, oh, we see something. We need you to go to the hospital and do another mammogram. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I went and got a mammogram at the hospital. They were like, we're gonna need you to get an ultrasound now. And I'm like, oh, ultrasound. So
Like, y'all doing too
I'm
much.
like texting y'all, like,
Like, hold on.
ultrasound now. So I go over and they do the ultrasound. And they was like, well, I'll be right back. And then the girl came back like, the doctor wants me to do another one. I'm like,
Y'all playing.
You
And they
playing
all
now.
it always seems
You
like
playing now.
they put you through these like I have been so blessed to like when I did go get my mammogram that I was with somebody who was like bubbly. If our energy is on in tune, what I have definitely found is look in with a business for sure, look people in their eye. That's gonna make me remember your order. It's gonna put me out at eye basis with you. You gonna
Yep.
understand what I'm going through, and I'm gonna understand what you. I'm looking at you right in your eye. And I used to be a type of person who I always look down, not show people. But I think in moments like that, when you're going for checkups and things like that, like be in tune with me. Like if you're scaring me, and I'm gonna need you to let you know that, because that's my way of just like taking a bit of control over the situation, and not because other people's panic could sometimes make you panic. Like don't make me panic if you
Right,
panicking, because I don't know what
right.
you panicking about. So I need to, so I try to be as in tune with people as much as I possibly can, because relax. Like
Right.
you scaring me.
Right. I'm like, I walked in here with a smile on my face. I was
Right.
feeling carefree. Like, y'all, like, don't put your clothes back on. We'll just rush you over to the other side. Like, we're gonna take the back hallway so you don't have to walk through the main lobby with the gown on. I'm like, but why are we doing all that? Like, chill out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Girl.
Tell these people out here, because like you've always said, Deanna, too, like nurses and doctors, they're people just like we are. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like I get it. I understand. Like I know you sometimes have to calm them down. Like I get it. I understand this seems to be, something very serious, but explain to me, what's going on, because your fear is causing
Mm-hmm.
me to panic, and that ain't a good place for us to be. Like we all can't panic.
Right. Somebody. I always say I can't panic when other people panicking. Like
Yeah,
somebody has to
y'all know
do
I'm
that.
not panic strict. I don't panic easy, but
Yeah.
I think it didn't really like hit me like, wait a minute, until I was like in the ultrasound space. Like then it just came back like a flashback real quick of all the treatment, all the sickness, all that.
Yeah.
But I definitely was like, okay, God, I know what you said, and I know who you are, and I know this looks a little
Mm-hmm.
crazy, but you are the God who heals. And I sent Pastor Lisa a text. I said, I'm only telling you right now, but this is where I'm at. And she said, we believe the report of the Lord. That's it. She didn't give me a long, you
Period.
know, that was it. And then she was like, oh yeah, by the way, something else, like totally different,
Anyway.
And I appreciate that too. Like, girl, we're not even about to spend time on this, okay? I had meant
Right.
to call you about something else.
She's
We
like
got
moving
bigger
along.
fish to fry. Yeah.
And it's funny you say that, because when I think I had called y'all, like, they want me to go to the hospital, and I was like crying. But then when I got in there and they did the first mammogram, and then I had to go to the ultrasound area, I stopped taking it seriously. I'm like chatting with the ladies over there. I was like, oh, we all over here in our gowns. And then another lady walked over who's like matching outfits. So,
Yeah.
I started not even taking it seriously. I'm over there chatting it up, like,
And that to me is what this is all about. Like when things are going on in life, and you really can, in your moment, change somebody else's day, make somebody else smile, pray for somebody else. Like that to me is you're delighted in God. Like you're not allowing your fear to make somebody else go crazy, to lose sight of what you should be doing in your own life. And I just find that to be so beautiful, that God loves us that much, that even when life is lifing,
Mm-hmm.
you can still
Yeah.
make somebody else's day. That to me is
Yeah.
I love God so much, and I am so like even right now, like in my life right now, I could be panicked, I could be depressed, I could be sad, I could be mad, but I am doing all the things. I am walking in my purpose, like driving down Michigan Avenue, like and seeing something that I designed up on a screen, like
A
yeah.
big screen, y'all. A big dumb screen.
happening here? What is literally happening? And
You're
we
experiencing the
are
awe
all
of
just
God.
so great. Yes, girl, walking outside seeing butterflies and whatnot. Like,
Mhm.
like this is
Yeah.
the greatest time in life and learning lesson. But yes, I think when you can breathe through those scary moments and possibly, change somebody else's way of thinking during that time that they're going through, because like while you're praying for those people, Deanna, like, you're, to me, that prayer sounded more like, I hope they could be more like you know what I mean? And I think that is a beautiful thing, as they go through their process, that they can lean on God and have faith in God, and
Yeah, it
trust that
turned
He's
into
in
Ferris
will.
Bueller's Day Off for me because I was there several hours. I was only intending to be there
Oh,
for 15 minutes. I ended up being there like 3 or 4 hours. So I text my supervisor, like, I'm sorry, I'm just have to take the day off. But then when that was done, it was like, I have a day off.
yeah.
What am I gonna do with myself? you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Party.
I was like, I don't know what to do now,
The days
you
off
Yeah.
know?
that
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. So,
Yeah, it
I
was
feel like
like,
anything you go through with life, sometimes you have to like just um take it as it comes and not
yeah, I
stress
took a
and
stroll down the street, stopped in a couple stores, ate lunch at a place I never ate before, made new
mm,
friends
look at
all by
life.
myself.
yeah,
Look at life.
so important.
But it was like also, like you said, taking, appreciating and being present in the moment. Like maybe God was like, you needed a little downtime, you needed some pause.
Hmm.
You needed
Mm,
to remember to take
Yeah,
care of yourself,
yeah,
and not just keep going, burning the candle from both ends,
yeah.
and be okay and be comfortable with having a moment to yourself and just, walking down the street and appreciating the shops on the avenue, whatever. I didn't spend a lot of money, but I was just, had a few
Browsing.
hours to myself. Like, doesn't
Yeah.
happen often. Like,
hmm
yeah.
Yes. So you got to take some of the find the beauty in everything, and even that scare, the beauty was you had time off. The beauty was that you took time out of your day to pray for the people who are going to get their first diagnosis or second diagnosis or third or whatever the case may be, and pray for them that they're able to become close to God, to be able to be as calm, and know that what did you say, God is the what,
The healer.
uh
He's a healer.
the healer. No, it was something else you said that Pastor Lisa said to you. God
Oh, we
is
were we believe the report of the Lord. Yeah,
believe the report of the Lord, and believe the report of the Lord.
is that He
And
wishes above all that we prosper and be in health, even as our soul shall
mhm,
prosper. So we don't
Right.
have
He
to walk
wants the
in
best for
fear.
us.
Yeah,
Like that
mhm,
is it's a silly reminder, but it's one that's like, look, like He ain't out here cheating and lying behind your back. Guess what? You always got somebody on your side when you
yeah,
got God in your life. Like He
yeah.
wants the best for you. He wants to
Right.
see you walk in your purpose. He wants to see you do all the amazing things. But guess what? He wants you to help people along the way too.
Yes.
So that might mean you being a little scared for a minute, because guess what? That's time that you needed to pray for somebody else who may
Hmm.
not be,
Right.
able
It
to
wasn't
pray.
about me. I had to get that together quick. Like, girl, this ain't even about you. Like,
Right.
this is about
That's another big lesson.
right.
Like what you
So
going
I'm
through
like,
right
so another
now.
thing that is often said, many pastors have said, I know mine have too, is like, it sounds good and it sounds churchy to say, oh, I want God to use me anyhow, any way He can.
Yeah.
But do you really mean that? Do you mean
Mm-hmm.
He can use you to the point of allowing you to experience an illness and walk through the paths and the ways of other people who maybe don't know Him, and show them what God looks like in the time of trouble? Like, do you really mean, God, here I am, pick me, or do we just
Mm-hmm.
mean pick me to bless me? But the blessing can come even in that. Like, do
Yeah.
you really mean it when you say, I want God to use me? I want to be a
Mm-hmm.
vessel of God. I'm here at His beck and call, however you choose. Like, so yeah, when we say that, we should mean it. And
Yeah.
trust that in every situation, God is in the midst. And although I might not see what the full purpose of this is right now, I know ultimately it's for His glory. So
That's the word
Whatever
right
that
there.
looks like.
Let's pause one quick second. That is the word right there. That is it.
Ultimately,
I
God gonna
don't
get
be
the glory out of
understanding
this.
right there in that moment. I'll be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
God,
yeah, yeah.
what are you
So
on right
it
now?
also let us know that the enemy is stupid, the opposer is stupid, because if you really wanted to be able to have a greater influence, you wouldn't bark up this tree, because this tree is going to glorify God. So it's not going to give
Yeah,
you what you thought. Like, it's not
at
going to
all.
look like how you thought it was going to be. So
Nope.
you really should have barked up another tree.
Go somewhere else. Not here, because here is not where
Yeah.
you want to be.
Yeah.
Here is just not where you want to be. And yes, the devil is all about confusing, and he's all about putting those thoughts. What did you call the thoughts that go coming through your mind when they're, what do you say?
I don't know, negative thoughts.
Negative thoughts.
The enemy suggestions. Yeah.
Enemy suggestion. Enemy suggestion. Like, yeah, like really in my head, like, girl, you know this business ain't gonna make it, is it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, keep on with it, keep on, because
Right.
I am listening to the right one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The enemy suggestions, I'd be like, I do not have time to think about that right now. Goodbye. Over
Like,
here with it.
because all you
At
got to
all.
do
I got
is
other stuff.
all you are about to do really is push us to be, creative and more innovative and achieve higher heights and greater depths. Like, really, it's just not what you think. So,
And in 10 months, look, 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 look,
yeah,
look, look at
yeah,
this,
yeah.
look at this.
Yeah.
But the whole story has changed. So, can we end this and what we've learned in the last 10 months?
I will I was gonna say steal, but I will use Michael Todd's thing from the book. It's only crazy until it happens. That, you know, believe for the impossible, and just know that, your prayers will be answered. And it may not be the way that you thought it was going to be, and you don't have to fight for it. It's not exactly, I wanted this person or I wanted it this way. Sometimes things may come wrapped up in a different way, and just go along for the journey and not try to fight your way or get in God's way. Like, get out of God's way and let God do what He's doing, and just follow the breadcrumbs that He's leaving for you.
What about you, Dion?
I agree with everything that was just said, and in addition to that what I continue to say, that we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we know who holds tomorrow. So when we really, again, not just say it but believe it, we can walk with our heads held high, with a smile on our face, through whatever trials may come. They say trials work with patience. I'm like, we patient out here, God. So we trust, we believe. So I think just that being open and being submissive to God is key in all our success, and it's only up from here. I think
Yeah.
we're still in a learning place. There's
Absolutely.
still
I know I am.
lessons that we are we are still studying for some tests. We got to retest on a couple of things, but I think where we are is because God can trust us at this level. When we show God that He can trust us at the next level, we're gonna be at the next level. So until we are that global brand, and you got a Cafe Coco Latte in every city, which is coming, is coming, is coming. But we're still in the pruning process.
Yeah, and for some reason that's needed and that's necessary. So for me, it is have a plan. It's okay to have a plan, and walk in that plan. But when you see that God is putting His hand on it to say, no, I'm going to need this to go in a different direction, or I'm going to need you to learn this lesson before I can take you to that next level. Walk in that and be grateful for those things. So it is, have a plan, but it's just okay sometimes when things go a little bit differently. But if you're staying on the path that God wants you to, and you're truly walking in your purpose, then nothing can steer you wrong.
Agreed.
And on that,
As always, in parting, keep it
keep it
brewing.
brewing.
Brewing. Do, 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 do.